With the Nothing Phone 1 selling more than 500,000 units in the last year, the Phone 2 is Nothing's second attempt at a smartphone. Overall, the Nothing Phone 2 is a welcoming improvement over the Phone 1 in many ways, but at what cost? With Nothing's philosophy of making tech more fun again, let's start off with the design, which is the biggest talking point and head turner when the device is placed down. Nothing retains the see-through aesthetic found across all their devices, including their wireless earbuds, and is definitely a selling point of their devices. The transparent back is highlighted by the wireless charging coil and accented by various ribbons and wires, so I definitely recommend a clear case in order to fully appreciate the design. The phone is available in both white and now a new grey, which is my favorite color out of the two available. What's new this year is Nothing has introduced a 3D glass with rounded edges on the back, which is more comfortable to hold compared to last year's Nothing Phone 1. The Phone 2 is protected by Gorilla Glass on both the front and back, with a nice aluminium finish on the rails. The phone is IP54 rated, which means it offers dust resistant but is only splash resistant. The selfie camera is now in the center of the screen instead of being off to the side, making the screen look more symmetrical. Speaking of which, I personally appreciate that Nothing has kept the symmetrical bezel on the Phone 2 and is now 0.35mm narrower compared to the Phone 1. Then there's the glyph interface, which somewhat adds more functionality and utility to the device. Similar to last year's Phone 1, the phone lights up when you receive a notification. It is slightly brighter and wider compared to the Phone 1, with a selection of glyph lighting options by Nothing to choose from. Then there's now an essential notification toggle which lights up the top right LED strip depending on the app you have selected. This will remain lit up until the notification is addressed. I wish that you could select specific context for messages that will work with the essential glyph lighting. Hopefully this will come in a future update. The Phone 2 LEDs are now split up into a number of sections with multiple addressable zones in order to show progress or track certain time-based events, like changing the volume on the device or setting a countdown timer. Other third-party apps like Zomato and Uber, which are the two currently available that integrates the use of glyph lighting in order to track progress. These are nice inclusions in theory, but I think I would much rather prefer use the actual screen to look at where my Uber driver is rather than having my phone face down. One other addition to the Phone 2 is the Glyph Composer, which has also come to the Phone 1 with the Nothing OS 2 update. And it is exactly how it sounds, and you can create your own personalized glyph lighting for ringtones and notification alerts, and it's certainly a nice touch, but after a few goes at it, I have yet to return to it again. Moving on to the display, the Phone 2 comes with an impressive 6.7-inch Full HD AMOLED display with a fluid 120Hz screen refresh rate, with a pixel resolution of 2412 by 1080 at 394 pixels per inch. It is a slightly larger display over the 6.55-inch found on the Nothing Phone 1. This year's Phone 2 has an adaptive LTPO display, meaning that it can toggle down to 1Hz depending on what content you're viewing on the screen in order to save on battery. The screen is bright and peaks out at 1600 nits in terms of peak brightness. Overall, the screen is sharp and has a great amount of contrast. The screen is also a flat panel display, and this may be a selling point for those who aren't interested in the curved displays. Viewing content on the screen was pleasant and personally enjoyed my time with the device. Whether it was scrolling through web pages with its smooth 120Hz display or just watching videos. That responsive experience is also thanks to the upgraded chipset found on the Nothing Phone 2. I found with last year's Phone 1 a bit of a disappointment in the performance department, especially when running more demanding games. Even with multitasking, there were a few instances where I found that the Phone 1 slowed down significantly to the point where it would be stuck on certain UI elements. With the much appreciated upgrade to the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor on the Nothing Phone 2, there's been an 80% boost in performance according to Nothing. It isn't the latest chipset currently available, but I did not have any issues with performance this time around. The Phone 2 definitely has plenty of juice and I had no issues running games. Speaking of juice, the phone has so far lasted the whole day and a bit during my time testing the device. The Phone 2 has a slightly larger battery at 4700 mAh as compared to the 4500 mAh found on the Nothing Phone 1. The phone makes it through a full day in a little bit on a single charge, and the much appreciated upgrade with the faster charging of 45 watts. This is up from the 33 watt on the Nothing Phone 1. The Phone 2 also has 15 watt wireless charging and 5 watt reverse wireless charging. There is also a charging glyph meter on the back of the device, which lights up indicating that the phone is currently charging and the current capacity. On a side note, I appreciate the length that Nothing has gone through to include a clear or see-through charging cable in the box. The overall stellar battery is likely to be a combination of the more power efficient chipset and a slightly larger battery, but also the new minimalist black and white UI that comes with Nothing OS 2. Nothing OS is based on stock Android, which means you won't find a lot of bloatware or double up of apps like Samsung's One UI. Nothing's monochromatic design is unique and simple, and it ties in quite nicely to Nothing's ethos. You can select the Nothing icon pack, which applies a grayscale design to all icons with the option to even remove app names. Nothing's idea of making apps more difficult to find and coupled with the implementation of the glyph notifications means that users might be less inclined to be distracted. Personally, I like the clean and pleasing look of Nothing OS 2, however it did take me a few days to get used to it, but I can honestly say that it has become my favorite Android OS of this year. And of course, you can definitely change this if you prefer the usual icon packs. Another customization option is that you can also choose how large your icons are on your home screen. And I also appreciate the dot matrix style that is embedded within the UI. It just gives it a very distinct style. I would like to add that Nothing's implementation of widgets with the updated Always On display has been my favorite addition this year. Essentially, you can now add basic widgets to your lock screen, which enables quick toggles without having to unlock your phone. I find the torch toggle particularly useful, but also painful as there's been times where I have accidentally turned on my torch without realizing. Software is definitely an area in which Nothing has poured more and more resources into, and it's definitely paid off. And if you still have your Nothing Phone 1, be sure to update your device to take advantage of all the benefits of Nothing OS 2. Unfortunately, if you're looking for a great camera system, then Nothing will disappoint. Don't get me wrong, Nothing has improved the cameras over the Phone 1 with a 50 megapixel main wide camera and a 50 megapixel ultra wide. The front-facing camera also receives the largest sensor with a 32 megapixel lens. You'll get decent photos with bright and rich colors with a good level of sharpness, but only in certain conditions. Nothing really needs to work on its dynamic range, and it definitely can't keep up in low light performance. Video quality is serviceable, but definitely nothing to write home about. But I'll let you be the judge of that with photos and videos taken during my day out in Melbourne. If you're watching this video, chances are you know what Nothing is about. Eye-catching design and excellent UI, with a cool lighting interface which will no doubt catch the eyes of people around you. What started off as a mid-range entry at $750 for the Phone 1 has creeped up to flagship prices. Other than a few additional glyph interface like the essential glyph notification and the ability to track time-based events, it's a similar glyph interface found on last year's Phone 1. You still get the Glyph Composer and the new Nothing UI if you update to the new Nothing OS 2 on your Phone 1. Sure, you get an improved chipset over the Phone 1, but I can't help to say that you might be better off looking at the OnePlus 11 with the Snapdragon Gen 2 processor. Especially if you can put up with Oxygen OS and the lack of wireless charging, you definitely get a better display with the OnePlus 11 and a telephoto camera. Overall, I really enjoy my time with the Nothing Phone 2. It's definitely got character and a sense of intrigue to it. And I hope that Nothing continues to expand on the use of the glyph interface and to include better hardware and software optimization for its camera in future.